Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaraacanfieldshow, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And today, my good friend Irma Kaye is back with us. And we are going to be talking about cosmic weather 2022 highlights and more. We always talk about more than what we plan. And so part of what we're going to discuss today includes, we're going to talk about the most important astrological aspects for February to June of 2022 and how they relate to us. We're going to talk about the significance of the sixth universal year in numerology and what we can expect. Also, how it will be different than 2021, thank God. And the lunar new year, which was on February 1st, and year of the water tiger. And what guidance the Akashic Wisdom Keepers have offered on 2022 about 2022. So if you don't know Irma, she's been with us many times before. We always have such a wonderful time talking about so many things, which I know we're going to talk about again. Irma is an author, an astrologer, a teacher, energy healer practitioner, and spiritual counselor from Southern California. She has been in professional practice since 1994 and has taught classes in the US and abroad. And now she's teaching online as well. So I'm just going to put that out there because I know you are. So it's like, you're teaching online as well. So Irma, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being with us. And I'm so excited about our conversation, what we're going to experience, what we're going to talk about. There's always so much.
Yay! I have missed you so much, friend. And hello to your wonderful community. It's always great to be on your show. Thank you so much. And I'm excited too.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. And so, yeah, 2022, it's already been crazy, right? So let's just jump in, because I know we always go on different tangents and we always like to talk about all the different things that you do. So, but let's start talking about, first of all, what 2022 is. How is it going to be different than 2021? And please tell me it is.
It is big time. Got some good news. And I've been telling folks to definitely not judge the rest of the year by January, because January was difficult. And my birthday's in January and I'm having a redo because it was so weird. Okay. We had Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde. When you have those kind of retrogrades at the same time, the year, of course, it got off to a pretty bumpy start. It did. But that, for me, especially as an energy reader and astrologer, the lunar new year is really when the energies of the new year begin to kick in. I've been following these cycles, for 20 plus years. So really this year, it's even more so because, January had very much a wrapping up vibe of 2021, especially when you have those retrogrades. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things to be excited about 2022. A 6 is all about harmony. It's about family. It's a feminine energy. A 5, which was last year, is more of an unstable energy. It's very changeable. This is more of a year. It's kind of interesting because this is a year where I see people going out and traveling more, as things are getting lifted. But it seems like the home base is going to be, there's going to be a focus on your home, because that's what a 6 energy is about. And at some point I will read a excerpt of the message from the keepers, my guidance team, that was about 2022. We could get into that in a minute. So that's a little bit to start out about. To answer your question, it's definitely going to be different than the last 2 years. And we've got some beautiful Pisces aspects that I remember I was telling you a little bit about that when they were like months away, and now we're here. We're in Jupiter and Pisces. So everybody that's got Sun in Pisces, like my lovely friend, you're going to be having a Sun Jupiter aspect, which is very positive, very beautiful. But even if you don't have predominant planets in Pisces, everyone has Pisces somewhere in their chart. So I always recommend that you could go to astro.com. There's lots of free places to run your chart and figure out the house cusp or the house that you have Pisces energy in, because everybody has Pisces in their chart somewhere. Okay, so that's beautiful. I love Jupiter and Pisces it's considered very auspicious. Pisces being a spiritual energy. What we need to kind of be aware of, though, is the shadow of that, which the collective tends to go in, as we know, studying trends for all these years, is there's the escapism, there's the delusion, there's the confusion. When we have retrogrades, now we're out of Neptune retrograde, which is helpful. It's going to go back in June. So this is Neptune is always a planet that's of special interest to empaths and light workers and sensitive people, as we talked about before. So when it's retrograde, the way I describe it is the astral highway gets very busy at that time. There really needs to be more grounding and centering and clearing. But now in this climate, we're talking grounding, centering, and clearing is absolutely vital for your part of your energetic hygiene. This is not a frivolous activity or a luxurious activity. This is something that we're doing on a daily basis. But, Pisces being so much about cosmic consciousness, about empathy, about compassion. So I'll talk in a minute about when I get into the eclipses, how these things tie together. When I sat down and started looking at the most important aspects between now and June, you'll see as we go through them, how they're tied together, and also how much they benefit us. We're talking people doing healing work, people on an awakening path. It's very much in support of us. So yeah.
Aren't we all on the healing path? And most
it.
of us are on the awakening path. And
everybody
healings,
on this call, everybody on
feelings
this call,
on my mind. Yeah.
Yes. Everyone watching this broadcast or watching the replay, this can benefit from this. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And good. I'm glad, because we need to hear some good news. We need to know that things are shifting, things are getting better. I know some of us are already feeling the shift, like I know for myself, I withdrew a little bit the month of January, just going within myself. And now it's like starting to feel the energy coming out again, which is good because it's like only a month away from my birthday. So yes, makes sense. Right. But this is normal for me at this time of year.
I hope you have something really special planned for your birthday, because the stars are shining upon you for your birthday with that sun Jupiter. Just to let you know, I normally go on retreat in winter, and I postponed it until Pisces season, just because the energies are more conducive, but also I didn't want to travel with all this, and I don't travel very far, but I just didn't really want to do that. So yes, it's definitely a shift. And again, I really do see us, it's almost like when you're, that little blossom that's coming up in spring, with the snow, and it's kind of making its way through. So that's another really good point. These energies are very gradual energies, because yin energy, another totem besides, it's interesting, it's year of the tiger, but tiger is the totem energy of this year, from what I could see. And it always isn't like that. That doesn't, you could have the year of whatever animal, and then you can have other totems. But this year, it was very much about the tiger and very much about grandmother spider, which I thought was very interesting, because she's back there slowly spinning her web. It's very, she's sitting on her throne, kind of slowly doing her thing. So patience is an aspect of this year, because next year is a 7. 2023 is the 7. And that's, as a peak spiritual year. And then the next year is the 8, which is all about manifestation. So as you can see, we're going up in steps, like in the IET that I practice, integrated energy therapy, we call them steps to transformation, right? So we're on this particular step right now, which is, we're laying the groundwork, we're being harmonious in our home and in our relationships. Another really important thing, interesting, that I just found out in my research, tiger as a shamanic totem has to do with clearing and cleansing personal toxins and environmental toxins. I know, pretty right on with that, right? So it's like your inner ecosystem, your outer ecosystem. So that again, that ties into this feminine energy of, tending to our home, our hearth, our loved ones. Want to make a little point here on my Cosmic Weather on my YouTube channel. My other dear friend, Shannon Lemaire of Lunar Ladies, we did a pretty in-depth exploration of the year of the tiger, and in my forecast, it's in probably the first 15 minutes of that broadcast. So I really invite everybody, if they're interested in that information and getting pretty deep with it, to go and check out, especially the first 15 minutes of the 2022 forecast on my channel. And it's, it's free, it's at YouTube. So I wanted to put that out there.
Good, thank you. Because we could use all the good juju and all the good information we can get. Now, because we're talking about astrology-ish stuff, and today, I don't normally do this, but today is my mom's birthday. So she's an Aquarius. She's like 1 month from my birthday. And so, she doesn't watch these things, so I can say anything I want.
You crack me up.
But we get along most of the time, but not always, right? But anyway, it's her birthday today. And so I called her this morning and wished her happy birthday. And as I'm wishing her happy birthday, then my dad chirps in the background, "Oh yeah, happy birthday."
That is so cute. What's your mom's first name?
Okay. You want me to spell it out? Suchitra.
Suchitra. What a beautiful name. Well, happy birthday to your mama. I honor her. I'm so happy that she is here in the world and brought you to be with us. So
I know, right? But it was so funny how my dad did not remember.
That's so funny.
Only when I called and said happy birthday, and then he's like, "Oh," and he actually heard me because he doesn't always pay attention, right? But
better not do that about their anniversary.
It's their anniversary. It's the day before my birthday. They cannot forget, so it'll be fine.
Okay, good.
It'll be fine.
Good. Just yeah, that's good. That's one you don't want to forget, in general. That's funny.
Yeah. So, for people who, for her at, this month, this year, what can we expect for people like around this time? Because I know I had another friend whose birthday was like the day before. I have another friend whose birthday like in a week. So lots of Aquarians around.
Well, that's a good question. What's interesting, Aquarians, we've had Saturn in Aquarius. It's been going, it was in Capricorn, then it went in Aquarius. So actually some Aquarians, I don't know if this is the case for your mom, but some Aquarians have had challenges over the last year, whether they be physical, whether they be emotional. Saturn, it's not, he's kind of a heavy hitter. What can you say? So, I think, but on the other hand, I have a couple dear friends that are Aquarians, and it's amazing to see them, really like smashing these goals. I have one friend that had an incredible weight loss. She's doing amazing. So that's when you have Saturn conjunct your sun, that's the kind of stuff you can do, but also there can be a karmic element to it. So I think the advice I'd give Aquarians is the advice I'd give everybody, which is be very loving to yourself. That's in line with the theme for this whole year. And I'm going to, I'll read that in the message from the keepers. But really, like, Aquarians can kind of push through things, because air signs in general can be like, I got this and I'm just gonna, and that's okay. I mean, there's a good
definitely like that.
There's a good aspect to that, and the aspect and a not good aspect to that. So I think really, if I was going to give guidance to Aquarians in general, I would say stop a minute and quit going a million miles an hour and sit your butt down. And what is it that you really need? What is your body and your heart and your mind calling out for? And, your birthday is always a beautiful time to do so, to practice self-love. But this, and of course the sun, you have a solar return. So you've got all this beautiful energy that's literally shining on you and back in, that's the whole thing. I love that about Make-A-Wish and some of these, these traditions that we have, right? You sing a song and you make a wish and you blow out the candle. I mean, that's candle magic, right? I mean, this is an ancient practice. So I think it's funny how these things have kind of made their way, into the everyday life. But yeah, I would say, for them to get pretty honest about what they need, their emotional needs. That Saturn and sun conjunction, again, it can be great for really meeting your goals, but it can bring some challenges. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, that is a message for everybody about, thinking about yourself, what you need, what do you require, self-care, self-nurturing, self-love. Always important, but especially around your birthday, because I know a lot of times people have challenges around their birthdays because they're like,
they do.
I have in the past. I haven't recently, but I have in the past, and it's hard. I mean, I remember one time when I was turning 30, I think it was like 3 months before I started going into like, oh my God, like I'm not where I want to be, blah 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 blah. And then, as the day after I turned 30, I was fine.
No, your birthday, that's a good point. Your birthday can bring up a lot of stuff for people. A lot of people don't have a great day on their birthday, maybe the day after or the day before, because it's a lot of solar energy. It's energizing you literally on a soul level, SOUL level from the sun. So it can, like my birthday, I had some really weird stuff come up and I ended up going, okay, I'm going to put this aside because I had something to attend and then I'm going to come back to it. But it was one of those things that it really was kind of a blessing in disguise because it was unpleasant. It wasn't fun. But kind of what you're describing, like this thing came up for you and then you went through it and the next day you were okay. For me, it brought up something and it was a little shocking. It was a little disturbing. See, because this all was in that Venus retrograde that was in my sign. It was in Capricorn. So I was feeling that very directly. So when I got over being like, a little angry and shocked about it, I got some very good clarity. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, because if you don't have the most wonderful day of your life on your birthday, hang in there, hang in there, because that's this, that whole time period, you've got basically about three weeks when the sun is in your sign, right? The joke about it's my birthday month. Yeah. Everybody almost does have a month. It's about 3.5 weeks. So that's like, if your actual birthday is kind of weird or things happen, then, do a redo. Why not?
Exactly.
Take another day.
It's funny. Last year on my birthday, I was alone at home. Robert was in the hospital and he felt so bad. I didn't realize how bad he felt, but after talking to me, he's like, so what are you going to do for your birthday? It's like, I don't know. I'll order something in. He felt so bad. He cried for an hour because I was all alone and, ordering pizza or something. Cause at that time, like, there's nothing to order around here. And so this year, I'm sure he's going to want to do something special. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm so happy he's home with you. That makes my heart just go. That's wonderful news.
Well, he's actually in the hospital today.
What was that?
He's actually in the hospital today, but that's another story.
Oh, okay.
No, it's good. It's okay. The hospital wants to just check his stomach, his intestines, the stents and all that stuff. So he should be home in a few.
He's gonna be home. Okay, good. Well, I knew he wasn't back in, like, staying there. So
thank
okay,
God.
good.
No, but he is not home. So I'm getting a break for 2 days.
Okay. Well, you know what you guys could do? I was thinking, even if you do have pizza or whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be wonderful because you guys are together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's all. And that's the biggest thing, because for me, I wanted to be with him on my birthday, but we were not allowed to, blah, blah, blah. But anyways. Right. Well, what were you going to say before I rudely interrupted you?
Well, we were talking about birthdays, right? And you were asking about your mom. I'm trying to think of what else we could talk about. Let me look at my notes. I have notes. How's that?
Okay, cool.
Go ahead. If you have a question before I go into this.
No, I don't have a question, but we do have people with their hand raised. So if you do have a question for Irma, you can raise your hand or you can type a question in the chat.
Okay. Do you want me to look at the chat here?
There's no questions in the chat yet, but
okay.
Melissa's asking, is there any way you could get Irma to overview the information?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you mean overview the year? Is that what they mean?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so because there's so much going on, I only took what I thought were the most important 3 or 4 aspects between now. And this is what I do when I do my own forecast. I break it up because, we don't want to be here for 5 hours. So
yeah just the main points. Yeah,
we'd be falling asleep and it's a little too much. So, and really another interesting thing we have going on right now, we have Venus and Mars conjunct, right? Like Paul McCartney saying, Venus and Mars are all right tonight in the song. So we have that going on. And it's interesting, they're in Capricorn right now, which isn't the most, bubbly. I'm a Capricorn. I mean, I am bubbly, but I have all this other stuff. But Capricorn, its energy is practical, it's grounded, it can be serious, right? It's Saturnian. So what does that mean? So does that mean your relationships are getting serious? It means that we're kind of taking a more serious eye to our relationships. It can also mean that this is the time when you look at that person you're casually dating and go, I really like this person and I really want to take this to another level. So now I always recommend, please don't get engaged in Venus retrograde. That's never a great time to get married or engaged, but especially the Vedic Indian astrologers would agree with me on that. But a Venus and Mars conjunction is a beautiful time to redefine your relationship, to maybe get engaged or have that person to cohabitate, or start a different partnership, level of partnership with that person. It doesn't necessarily have to mean romantic. This is 7th house. This is all partnerships with other people. So this is going to be, normally when we have a Venus Mars conjunction, they don't hang around very long. They normally hang around anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. This one's hanging around for 3 months, you guys. So that's kind of a big deal. It's going to be February all the way to, I believe, the second week of April. The exact dates to pay attention to are February 16th, which is right after Valentine's Day. And then we have March 3rd and we have March 6th. Okay, so those are the dates that it's going to be like right, and you'll be able to see them. Like stargazers are going to be able to look up in the sky, especially people with telescopes. Definitely check that out on those dates, February 16th, March 3rd, and March 6th for the Venus-Mars conjunction. Okay, so that's what's up for that. Relationships. It's a really nice thing about balance of feminine and masculine energy, right? Because that's what we have. We have the mother and the father. We have, doing action, and then the yin aspect. Okay. So that's really beautiful. And I love that. And even though it's not considered in its greatest placement in Capricorn, I still don't really have a problem with that, because I like that we have a lot of earth energy right now, because I think that, we can bring that nurturing from Gaia, from Mother Earth, from our little four-legged friends. This is really like a bringing us down to earth type of thing. We also have Uranus and Taurus being an earth sign. So that helps with our nurturing. And also this is going to be a great year to get out in nature. It was really interesting. I just, on a little side note, I purchased some art from a woman that does angelic channeling, just because I wanted to support her work. And she had a beautiful picture of Raphael, who's one of my guys, So I'm like, I don't really get a lot of messages from other channels. Sometimes I do. And it came with the message, and it was so on point about me getting out in nature. And I live in a place that there's all this nature, but we've been really inundated by lots of people in the last couple of years, because this is like an escape from Los Angeles destination where I live. So I think my response was to kind of just hunker down and hermit. And it was so on point, like, really, like, this is one of the things I love about being here, is the nature here is beautiful. We live I'm a few miles away from an incredible national park. So that's some information, I think that's for me, but I think that's for everybody.
For sure. Yeah.
If you've been holing up in your house, your apartment, and people have been spending all this time on screens and all of that, I really feel like to get the nervous system in balance, we need more time in nature. We need more time with our four-leggeds. We need more time with our beloved, humans, and then we need more time. So that's one of the things that really, see how it's all tying together so beautifully. I mean, that's what I love about it. I mean, because you could always find what my friend Shannon calls the little breadcrumbs that lead you different places. But when I sat down with all of this, it was like, this is so cool. It's really exciting and interesting, right? So that's what's happening with Venus and Mars, which that's fairly rare. But I mean, the rare part of it is how long it's going to last, because the conjunction itself is fairly common. But the other thing we've got that's only once every 12 and a half years is we do have a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. It's on April 12th. I am excited for this. I could do a whole thing on in fact, I am in my Patreon group. So if you would like to hear my thoughts on Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, I'm starting to do monthly live events in my subscriber group, and we'll give that information out to everybody. I have a tier that starts at just $3 a month. So I've been looking at, I've been looking at seeking at other platforms. Just put it that way. For certain censorship issues and so forth. So my Patreon is growing, and if people are interested, we have a fun, wonderful group of folks over there. So I will be doing monthly offerings. But the offering for February, which is going to interest some of the US folks, we have the Pluto return of the United States coming up, which is a once in a lifetime event. Okay. And this is very important for especially for everybody, but especially for folks living in the United States. So what is the date on that? February 18th, I'm going to be going live. Normally what I do is I have a basic tier. I have different tiers. The $3 tier is like the very basic, and you just get a few reports a month. But what I'm doing with that is I'm opening it up to everyone. So literally, if you're at the $3 tier, you will get in on that information. So that I just felt I was guided to do that. And I feel that that's really important. I've been asked about this a lot in social media because it's kind of a big deal.
So what does it mean? I don't know what that means though.
Well, Pluto has to do with transformation. It also has to do with the shadow. It has to do with power. You know,
what does it have to do with the, like, how is it specifically related to the Pluto return of the US?
It basically, well, it's your soul. It's like we're basically having a return of soul. Like it's almost like it's related to a dark night of the soul. It's related to crisis. It's a catalyst. It's a revolutionary aspect. As you know, if you're following anything that's going on in the United States right now, there's a lot going on. So there's of course, there's an individual aspect, like how do I relate to this as an individual? But then it's the bigger picture. But it really is like a seeking of soul and what's going to come out of a metaphysical crisis that is happening in the United States. And, you know, I've done my own research on this. I'm studying with some of the greatest. I'm really blessed. My teachers are incredible, you guys. I'm studying with some of the most gifted astrologers I feel that are around right now. And this is a compendium of my notes from lectures that I've attended and also my own interpretation and what I'm receiving from my own guidance on this. So this is important because this is going to be affecting our lives. And this goes beyond whoever is president. You know, this is beyond politics, even though it involves politics. It's also beyond politics. This is what, and also people with young children, people with grandchildren, this is important for what we're looking at in our future going forward. Okay. And there's some helpful aspect, but again, you know, there's some rocky stuff, right? When you're in a catalytic situation of revolution, no one says, what is it? You're baking an omelet, you're going to break a couple eggs. I mean, this is where it is. So I think this is important. You know, like I said, people ask me about this a lot and I was interested in it. So I made sure that I got some really good information. So I'm going to be sharing that in the group. So we've got Jupiter, Neptune in March, and then Pluto return is going to be in February. But on what I wanted to say about with Jupiter, Neptune is that when we're talking about Jupiter expands everything it touches, and then we know that Neptune is cosmic consciousness. So you can see how beautiful that is, the potential of expanding greater cosmic consciousness. What I did want to say too about the self-care, since we're talking about nature, self-care, the 6 frequency, all of that is a little healthy escapism is good. We're going to need some. We deserve some, whether it's that Netflix, you know, we like to watch sci-fi, whether it's a sci-fi show that you like or romantic comedies that you like or whatever it is. See, this is considered healthy escapism. And so in Pisces, this is actually one of the activities that's recommended is do a little healthy, you know, you like to play with kids or just anything to kind of get you out of the grind. You know, it's whatever that feels like for you, that, oh, my to-do list and, you know, all of that. And see, because the Capricorn, we have 3 planets in Capricorn, which is very much about the to-do list, you know, all my responsibilities, all of, you know, it's adulting. Capricorn is very much like an adulting thing. And we know that some days you're like, I don't want to do adulting today.
Absolutely. I just want to be a dragon today, you know.
So the thing is, especially in Pisces season, you know, and also again in April when we have that Jupiter Neptune in Pisces, you know, take a little time out for some healthy escapism. You want to watch a movie, you want to unplug for the afternoon. Another great thing is I study with Jack Kornfield. He's a wonderful mindfulness teacher. You know who he is. And his whole thing is do the retreat. He has 1 day and half day retreats you can do in your own home. I love this idea. This is incredibly Neptunian. It's incredibly Piscean to stay in your jammies or whatever, make your cup of tea, and do some mindfulness practices, do some meditation, do some journaling. And you know what? You can take half a day. You could take 4 hours and do that. And you'd be amazed at when I do those little half day retreats, I am amazed at how invigorating those are. because it just shows you don't have to take a week. You don't have to take a weekend. And I know people are very busy and people are raising children and doing all these things. So if you could just think about that, that's half a day. That's more doable for a lot of people. So really, that's really going to be on the to-do list. The to-do list is going to be to, unplug from your to-do list and just escape a little bit. Okay. We want to avoid the unhealthy escapism, obviously, with too much television, with too much sugar or your substance of choice, or, again, it's like if you're a person that maybe likes one glass of wine, that's okay. But we're talking about overindulgence in anything is to be avoided, because this is going to be a highly, highly sensitive transit. And that, of course, what does that mean? That affects the aura. It affects all layers of the aura and the physical body. So people that are, especially 80% of the people on this call, at least, that are talking to you. So what does that mean? Up your water intake. Really watch the diet. Avoid overstimulating conversations or events, or and also there's a section that keepers are talking about. I've had an issue with this, and I just to share is I like to be informed. I remember there's that thing like the comparison about being at risk of being overly informed to your mental health or whatever. You can be overly informed. You can have too much information to the point where it's not healthy for you. And believe me, I've been in there. I'm a very good researcher, and I do like to research my topics and things that I present on. So I've had to find the balance of, I want to be informed, but I don't want to get bogged down. We certainly know that mainstream media news has got an absolutely negative, fear-based spin. We know that there's a lot of stuff going on with that. I also don't want to be, I actually know some people, and bless them, they're doing their work. They have no idea what's going on. They check the weather and that's it. And you know what? Good for them. I don't judge that at all. That's their path, and that's great. So for me, it's been a balance of going from not knowing at all what's going on, like, what day is it? I don't even know. Or, to knowing like all of this stuff that's heavy. It doesn't help me. It's too much. So I'm being guided to share that, because I feel like there's some folks here like me that applies to. They want to be informed, but then it's almost like, the great Buddha Lama Yeshe used to say, check up. How does that make you feel in your body? Does that make your solar plexus feel bad? Does it raise your anxiety level? Like, it's really a thing about awareness. We're going to need to be very aware going through these transits the next couple months.
Good. So, and being aware is also something we should be doing all the time, checking in with ourselves all the time.
And I think absolutely. I think this is a thing, though. It's like even more awareness, because there's a more, the thing too, to keep in mind about Pisces is that certain things that maybe you could eat, a good example, maybe you could eat a food and it doesn't bother you, but then you'll find that when we're in a highly sensitized transit, that food affects your body a different way. I think that's a great, example, because I've experienced that. And it might be something innocuous like popcorn. It might be something that's not necessarily a bad food or a junk food, but our system is going to be running a little bit differently again. So I think that's good knowledge. I think that's good for knowledge.
So what you're saying, it basically is during the transits, be aware of anything that's changing, because just because something doesn't suit you in that moment, it could be just because it's the transits, not because it's really not good for you. It's normally fine. But so it's like, don't go into like, oh my God, what happened? But it's like, all right, we're going through a transit right now, so let me be aware of what's happening. And then once we're out of it, then go back and check in and say, all right, is this still okay with me? Yes or no?
That's a great way to put it. And another thing I tell people too, when I writing the cosmic weather reports, it's like especially like when we have really high geomagnetic activity, for example, this raises physical pain in the body. It can bring old stuff, like that thing hasn't hurt me in 10 years. Why is it hurting me again? Or and then it can also even people can have palpitations. They can have arrhythmia of the heart. There's all these things that can happen. So I've always got, the guidance for that is, if you're in a really high, it's all about persistence. It's all about what persists, right? And I think that's a good way to put it. If you come out of the transit and you're still having physical symptomology, that's when you really, it's recommended you would see a healthcare practitioner, okay?
Right,
But
right.
again, if we're in a period of some really high level, like just 2 weeks ago, put it this way, normally on geomagnetic activity is on a 1 to 5, let's put it that way. Well, sorry, 1 to 6, something like that. Most of the time it hovers, and we're talking about, you know, solar storms, solar activity, just to inform people that aren't aware of that term. So normally we're at a 1, maybe at a 2. This is considered our norm. Lately we've been going into the 3, which is a little slightly elevated. Then we, you know, then occasionally we'll get into a 4. Week before last, we had a 6. And a 6 is very high. And a 6, I found, since I've been studying these cycles for 20 years, a 6 can affect you for days. You know, a 6 can really affect you for up, I would say safely up to 48 to 72 hours. So what do you do in a 6? You drink a lot of water. And if you could pretty much take it for granted, your sleep's going to be affected. Set up your schedule. I'm fortunate that I could take a nap during the day. I can schedule my clients and so forth that I could take a little 20-minute cat nap with my cat, and that helps me a lot. So that's the thing too, is, you know, these are another thing to follow is what I do in my own work. But geomagnetic activity, that has known effects on human beings. This has been heavily studied. This is not conjecture. This is actual,
not woo-woo.
It's not woo-woo. This is actual scientific fact for people that, you know, enjoy that. And the thing is even we knew it was real even before, years before they were doing all these tests on it, because I started studying it a long time ago. So I'll, if anybody wants to ask me a question in a minute, we'll take a break and people can raise their hand. But that, I think that's a good way to put it, is be aware of the transit, be aware of these factors. Are we in geomagnetic activity that's super elevated? If you find yourself, because it can be very emotional for people, it can be, but as I always like to say, better out than in, like Hagrid.
I agree. I say that too.
Yeah, right. Just clearing, right? We're going to, what is it? Burn your sage, drink your water, cry it out, journal it out, right? So that, I think that, you know, again, I'm excited about Pisces just because of the beautiful humanitarian aspect that it has, and the beautiful, you know, and another thing to keep in mind is Pisces rules the 12th house, which is the collective. So this is the important message, y'all, is that it's very important that we keep our vibration high, that we walk through these transits with the greatest amount of love that we can. And again, one of my dear friends, I don't know if she's on here, Joe, I want to give a shout out to Joe Hitchin in the UK, but she had this beautiful meme of all these people holding a little part of the fabric of the grid. And there was all, you know, we're all holding our little part of it. And if you have to let go of it that day, well, there's all these other people that have your back that are holding it together. So I think that's a really great, I'll get to that in a minute. I think that's a great visual. And it's also a great realization that you're allowed to have days where you stay in your jammies. You're allowed to not be on point every minute. You're allowed, that's, you know, it's a real allowing. That's another high aspect of Pisces, is compassion and allowing. And we certainly can't forget ourselves in that equation, like we tend to do. In the West, especially, right? You know, this whole, and I think that this is another interesting thing, because we've been seeing this shift from this driving, you know, young, masculine, get her done, like that grind. I think I had a post and it was like, less grind and more flow, less hustle and more flow. And I know we've been kind of talking about that for a while, but this year is all about that. It's all about making that, like, where the rubber meets the road, making that a reality. And how do we make that a reality? We do it collectively. We do it through visualization. We do it through intention. We do it on the Alaracanfield show. We do it, you know, we do it in my community. You know, these are all going to be really important things. And there's all this distracting nonsense that's going to keep coming in, because it's what it does. So, right, that we can't, I think what it is it's the thing about not waiting for that to shift or be better or different, but just kind of starting where we are and being very practical. You know what I mean? I'm going to look at this question really quick here.
And I have to say, for the past couple of weeks, so much emotional stuff has been coming up for a lot of people. A lot of the old stuff is coming up, right? And with that comes awarenesses if you don't go into judgment, right? So I know for myself, a lot of stuff's been coming up. I've been looking at it. I was not going into judgment because I know better now. But it's like interesting. Just asking the questions, looking at it, giving myself time to process it from the space of compassion, right? From the space of compassion. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, it's just, interesting stuff that's coming up. So just be aware of that and just don't go into judgment, because as you were talking about physical stuff, but it's not just physical stuff that comes up, it's all the emotional stuff.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And
all the patterns, beliefs, all the stories, that, are like, are we done with this yet? Kind of thing. And all that is coming up. I know here, if you're wondering what I was just doing, it's like, it's so windy. It's like this past week and a week and a half, we've had like 70-kilometer-an-hour winds, and wow. It's like, how is the house still standing? I don't know. So that's what I was listening to right now. It's like, oh, it's okay, it's all good. But even that, right, is affecting change.
Absolutely. Right? That's a really good point. I mean, yes, staying out of judgment. I love that interesting. That's so very like Zen-like of you. Oh, that's very interesting. That's what a lot of the Rinpoches that I've actually spoken to in my life, they're fond of that word. That's very interesting, because I just thought I'd share that with you, because that's very Piscean, of course, but that's not saying it's this or that. That's going, well, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to be with that. Right. And it's true. I mean, what's the big vibe lower? Judgment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Condemnation, rejection, all of those things, separation. I mean, I want to just make one little side comment here. The one thing that's really come up a lot is a lot of separation kind of, wrapped in, hidden in different, like, oh, this is all love and light, but then, oh, those people. Right. And I mean, we can laugh at, but it's amazing how subtle it is. There's been a lot of really subtle stuff about that. And I've had to, you have to be mindful of whatever information's coming in, right? And like I said, you could use your body as your pendulum. You can use kinesiology. How does that feel in your body? Is that truth to you? No. Then we're going to move on. Someone asked me a question that's a medical intuitive question, and I can't answer those in the broadcast. If somebody would like to have me look at that outside of the broadcast, I can't really do readings when I'm chatting, because I gotta stay in the flow of that. But thank you for your question, and people can get with me after the broadcast. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I didn't even read them yet myself. And we also have Linda and Pat who have their hand raised as well.
Okay.
Linda, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Irma.
Hi, Linda.
I'll put my video on. Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Hi. Well, nice to see you too. Okay, so I'm born I'm December 4th, Sagittarius. So this is the year of the tiger, right? But what does this water tiger mean?
That's a good question. And I do recommend that everybody watch my video at YouTube, because we go in a lot of depth about that, but I will share a little bit about that right now. And that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah.
And then I have one other question too. What about the finances this year for everybody? Because everybody's expecting, especially in the United States, I know everybody's expecting that there's going to be a monetary shift. And a lot of people are very fearful of that, and other people are just joyful for it. So what do you see for that too? I'm sorry, two questions.
That's okay. Well, the first one, year of the tiger, again, water tiger, feminine energy. It's a very, very interesting combination, because tigers are very stealthy. They're powerful. We normally think of a tiger as being like that yang energy. They're very fast. So, but when you have the tiger in the water, it brings a very, very different energy to it. And what's very interesting is my dear colleague, that's why I invite people to watch the video. I don't do it justice. Everyone needs to see it, but she got a whole download that there's a goddess in the Himalayas, and she's, her name is Miolong Songma, and I'm amazed I pronounced that correctly. And impressive. It's my past lives as a Tibetan. she's seen with the tiger. And so my colleague actually got this information that there is a goddess that is related to the tiger. And so this whole thing came through. So that's beautiful. And I really, again, there's a lot more to it, but I invite people to watch that video. It's at my YouTube channel.
Can you see that? Hold on. Can you see that?
Wow.
Wow, that's really cool.
It's the goddess sitting on the tiger.
She's sitting on the tiger.
That's Durga.
Can you show it again, Alara?
Yeah, 1 second. Here you go.
So that's Durga. Yeah, you said that's Durga on the tiger.
Yeah, that's Durga on the tiger.
And
yeah, you're welcome.
This is the other little interesting thing about it is Venus in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn has to do with the peak. This was the other piece that came through. So it was like she was seeing her like, oh, she's the goddess on the mountain, related to Venus. Venus is Capricorn's the mountain peak. So again, we were following all the breadcrumbs, and that's what we came up with. So that was cool.
And so, can I just say, Parvati is the goddess of the mountain as well. Parvati, that's the name. Parvat is mountain, so she's the goddess of the mountain.
Beautiful.
And Parvati is, Durga and Parvati are the same, and so her, tiger is always with her.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. So as you can see, this is like really a direct message. This is directly from Goddess. And again, this ties into that 6. This is a very feminine energy, but again, it's very strong energy, right? So again, well, we know the nature of the divine feminine. It's both very strong and nurturing and creative. To answer your question about the finances, again, I could do a whole Zoom call on that. Like really, I could. This is the most important thing. Are there going to be some shifts? We have Uranus and Taurus, and this is not new. We've had this for, over a year now. Uranus is shifting and changing. Taurus is physical reality. It's the second house. It's money you make, as opposed to money that, you inherit or something. It's all about your resources. So again, this is where we have to, as the keepers would say, this is where we become magicians. And another really interesting point is I realized, and I told this to Alara on another show, that all of the books that I wrote from 2012 to 2017 are all for right now. All of the information in those books, going back and reading little excerpts from them. I wrote a book called The Aquarian Path to Abundance, and it's just a small little book, but and I've given some classes and teachings on that. The keepers have said over and over in various languaging about creativity, being magicians, creating your reality, creating it together. So again, are there fearful things that are happening and shifts and the unknown? Absolutely. But the whole message, and I love that we have that the goddess has our back on this. I love that, because now it's like, well, what are we creating together? What are we creating together? We're creating safety for everybody, enough resources for everybody, enough, food and shelter for everybody, like hold the vision. So I think what it is it's not saying that there's not going to be fearful shifts as we go through this transformation. But I think what it's about is remembering that we're part of a greater community, remembering that we always have help. This is the 2 things that the guidance has told me through this whole shift, starting a couple of years ago. We're never without help. And I think that's really, really important. And I mean, I've forgotten it. I know when we get off in our stuff, we can feel alone, and feel isolated. I mean, we've all been there, no judgment, right? We've been there. But this is saying that, remember, and that's what I love about your show, Alara. I love that this is your service. It's such a wonderful service that you do and connect us all together. So I think that's a great question. And I appreciate both your questions. I think that's nobody, I don't have a crystal ball here. Well, I have one in the back right here on the table, but you know what I mean? As far as knowing exactly what's going to happen, it's up to us. It's up to us what happens, right?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Irma.
Thank you for that. That was a great question.
Thank you, Linda.
Love you, sweetie.
And somebody else chimed in on the Facebook, and she said, Durga is also called Sheron Valima. So Sher is tiger, and so she always has tigers around her. Yeah, so thank you, Jaranjeet, for that. Yeah,
don't we love that? How much do we love this? It's like, can you get a clearer message or what? It's amazing to me.
And it's about family, right? So goddess is also considered mother, right? So it's about, the mother energy. So 6 is a year of family nurturing, right?
Yes.
So that's what a mother does, right?
And it's feminine energy. It is very much nurturing. And then again, I love that we have Venus and Mars conjunct mother and father right there.
Yeah.
And they're conjunct, they're in perfect balance, they're traveling together. So as you can see, I mean, if I was going to give an overview, I haven't even looked at the fall eclipses because they're way away from now. We're looking at, and I haven't looked at Lionsgate because Lionsgate's a favorite of mine, and that's another thing we can, if you're interested in that, the 8/8 is a great, peak experience. I'm very connected to that, and I've been giving activations on that for, I don't know, like 9 or 10 years now. But when we're looking at between now and like the end of May, I'm going to talk a little bit about the eclipses. This is a really, really important chunk, you guys. February until the beginning of June. This is such an important period. I haven't looked at fall yet, but I could tell you it's not as important as what's going on right now. I feel that in my bones. I just do. Because when you've got, when you've got these conjunctions, do you want me to go ahead and maybe tell you a little bit about the eclipses? It's getting on 1 o'clock. So let's, I want to tell you about this.
Sure.
We have eclipses every year. We have them in, in 2 different seasons, right? We've got spring and the fall, and of course, reverse that if you're in the other hemisphere. So solar, we've got the solar eclipse. I have some notes here. April 30th, it's at 10 degrees of Taurus. This ties into Linda's question, and I'll tell you why. Taurus is all about resources. It's about things you own. It's about money you make. Solar, new moon, brand new, seeding. Right. And it's interesting because they travel in pairs. And a lot of times the lunar will precede the solar, but this year it's different. It's reversed. This year we've got the solar that's preceding the lunar. And it's interesting. Again, we're going to have a Taurus Uranus aspect. So what does that mean? Uranus brings change. It shakes things up. If you're not, it's basically like, oh, like, la, 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 I don't want to look at that. Uranus is going to go, no, I think you need to pay attention to this over here. We might rock your world a little bit. So, that's the thing too, as I've said before, that Uranus is fearsome for some people, but only if you're resisting. Mm-hmm. If you're resisting, then of course your cage is going to feel like it's a lot more, but it definitely brings change. Okay. And so I like to describe the new moon as the fire under the butt. So that's our fire under our butt. It's in Taurus. It's on a physical level. It's what, your home, your possessions, the money you bring in, literally, it's literally your home. So this again ties into what we're talking about. It ties into the 6 and the mother energy. So there's something called Sabian symbols that this amazing seer brought through named Elsie Wheeler. I've mentioned these before. Every planet has an aspect of 0 to 30 degrees. So for example, Taurus, this moon is going to be at 10 degrees of Taurus. So she brought through symbols, which is like a sentence or two for every single
talking. I'll be right back. Okay. Neil's
okay.
Talking like crazy. I'll be right back. You keep talking.
Okay. So she brought through a symbol for 30 symbols, right? For each one. So the symbol for 10 degrees of Taurus is a Red Cross nurse offers sympathy, which I think is really interesting and it's really sweet. I'm going to see here on the chat here until she comes back here. Okay, I'm going to answer some questions with folks here. Do you need to have your birth time? It's really helpful, but the answer is no. It's what's good is if your mom is still living or if there's somebody that remembers, it's good to know if it was, first of all, if it was night or if it was daytime or nighttime. That's very important. Most people can narrow it down to that. Because basically we tend to use high noon as the marker if we don't know the birth time. But a lot of times people can go remember if it was dark out or light out. That's a good place to start. If you don't have the exact birth time, then the rising sign and the houses are not going to be accurate. So as you can see, it's kind of important to have that. But on the other hand, if you're within 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours, it's probably not going to be that off. So for example, we guesstimate it at 4 p.m. and you were born at 2 p.m., then it's not going to be that off. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. I've been answering some questions. Alara will tell you all about these specials. I have some. Oh, hi, Neo. Is that Neo? Is that Neo? Is that Neo? Is that the pupper?
Yes.
Oh, hi, sweetheart.
Say
Hi,
hello.
pupper. Oh, look at you. Oh, I love that puppy. So
He came here.
cute.
Okay, you sit here.
So I was just answering some questions. I'm going to go back to the eclipses in a minute. I am
Cool.
offering a reading special. That will be in the mailing. Alara's been so kind to set that up. We'll be talking about that in a moment. So to answer your question, yes, you can do a chart reading without your birth time. It's really good to have your birth time, or at least a general idea within 8 hours of when you were born. I hope that answers that question. Okay. So you need to hear this, Alara. So the Sabian symbol for the new moon is a Red Cross nurse offering sympathy. Isn't that interesting? So I sat with that a little bit. That obviously would, be, there's a certain thing like, oh, offering help and kindness and empathy. But here's the other side of it, y'all. For people that have been over giving and whose their cup is low, this is for you. This is going to be a time for you to go, oh, I need to receive more energy now. I need to receive more compensation for what I'm doing right now, or whatever the case may be. Oh, I'm being reminded to share this with you on back to the tiger thing, because we do this. I saw an amazing picture, and it was a cheetah, but it's still, the point still applies, and bear with me. There's a cheetah, and it was next to some very fast dogs, whippets, like race dogs, whatever those really fast dogs are. And they had them in a race, and they opened the gate for the cheetah and the dogs, and the cheetah just sat there.
Yeah,
Point
like,
being,
I'm not racing with these people. Yeah.
The cheetah knows, of course, a cheetah runs faster than a dog. We know this. This has been clocked. They're the fastest creature on the earth, one of them. So the thing is, I'm going to apply this with the tiger as well. A tiger is not going to get in a race with the dogs, because a tiger doesn't have to prove to anybody that it's a tiger.
Right.
I thought that was an amazing meme that somebody shared. And I filed that away going, that is awesome. And I think that this also really applies to these eclipses, because really, if we're looking at self-care, we're talking about economy of energy, which is one of my terms. I'm very familiar with economy of energy, being an empath and writing lots of books for empaths and all of this kind of stuff. So again, when the gate goes up, do you have to get in a dog race when you're faster than everybody, or whatever the case metaphor may be? No, you don't. So I think that was really wonderful. I think a tiger is one of the most powerful animals around. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, like William Blake, beautiful poem. So this energy is incredibly auspicious. Again, we know that it's related to the goddess. So I think the overall message of tiger medicine is always about remembering who you are. It's always about not lowering your standards, not getting, quote, choosing your battles. Again, not getting in the dog fight when there's no need. The dog race when there's no need for you to do that. Okay, so on the other hand, so that's what's going on with that eclipse. Some people are going to feel inspired to be more compassionate, to be more selfless, to serve more. I know that there's a lot of folks on this call that are already in that energy. So I think for us, it's going to be, how can I receive more? How can I honor my own worth? Because second house Taurus is about our worth. And that, where does that start? That's in here. That's a mental plane thing, right? Nobody gets to define your worth but you. That was a hard one for me. I have a lot of planets in the second house. So that was a big lesson for me when I was a younger person. I learned about, and what does that mean? Oh, I deserve to be compensated X dollars for my time. My time is valuable. Or this is another side of that. I've always said, Spirit chooses pro bono work. when I am told to work with somebody on a pro bono level, I have a small amount of work that I do at that level. That's guided by spirit. The public doesn't get to come in and tell me to work for free. It doesn't work like that. Okay. This is a good example. And Alara's going, yes, yeah. So that's the thing, is we get to define even how we do our service in the world and what that looks like for us. Okay. So as you can see, wow, that's powerful. New moon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That, seeding, and that's all about seeding something new. So we're going to be seeding new things about our personal value, about our worth. And again, that ties into that question about shifts in the finances. I read something just as simple the other day, and it was like, don't forget law of attraction, y'all. Don't get so hung up in the fear or the chaos or the news or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be a very simple energy. This, I feel that 6 is, again, it's hearth and home, but it's keeping it. What is it? Keep it simple, sweetheart. That's what my friend Shannon likes to say, right? Instead of making it more, it doesn't have to be complicated. So that's what's going on with that. The big thing, you guys, though, the lunar eclipse, depending on where you are, is either on the 15th or the 16th. In the Pacific time zone, it's going to be, in the US, it's going to be on the 15th. Okay. This is 25 degrees of Scorpio. And people all, Scorpio is always fearsome. I always joke and say it's the amateurs, and amateurs don't get the energy, because Scorpio in its highest octave is profoundly transformative, right? It's the phoenix, it's the eagle, and it's one of the few signs that, there has multiple levels. On the low level, it's a scorpion, it's stingy, negative. We're not going to mess with that. Mid-level, nice. It's the wolf. It protects the family. It's very much the nurturer, the breadwinner, all of those aspects for the family, which that's fine and good. We need that. And of course, both men and women can be in that role. In its highest, most ascended aspect, it is the shaman, it is the wizard, it is the phoenix, and it's the eagle. Okay. So this is, hi, Neo. So this is some really profound energy on the higher octaves. Okay, does society, does humanity always hang out in that level? We know they don't, and that's the thing too, is to really, this is a period where it's important to vibrate very high and hold that vision, that high, that wizardly vision, that phoenix rising, right? Like, and we've been called to do that so many times. I mean, we've been through so many losses, so many shifts. We're reinventing ourselves. It's transformation in its highest order. Okay. So this really is very much a shaman's moon, a wizardly moon, any kind of practitioner, high priest, high priestess type of an energy. Okay. So another interesting thing about this, we have something called the nodes of the moon. I know there's people on this that are familiar with that. If you're not, I'll explain that a little bit. These rule the collective. They were in Gemini and Sagittarius. Now they're in Taurus and Scorpio. Another positive thing about shifting out of this pandemic energy is previous pandemics, the 1918 one, we were in Gemini Sag like we were in 2020 and 2021. We've now shifted out of that energy, which is positive when it comes to for that aspect. So we've got Taurus in the North Node, which is all about new resources. This ties into that question. What's the money thing going to be like? What does this look like? Oh, guess what? We get to make it. We get to create it. We get to decide what it's going to look like with more equality, with more income, with more income equality as opposed to inequality. So there's that. South Node, Scorpio, the shadow of it, it's pretty nasty, y'all. It's power trips. It's abuse. It's we saw a rise of this with the Me Too movements. This has to do with abuse of all levels. It has to do with abuse of the feminine. And guess what? All of this doesn't stand anymore. We don't stand for this anymore, right? We're shifting out of this. So basically, expect this eclipse to shine a light on some dysfunction, whether that be for you personally or whether, it's definitely going to shine a light on dysfunction in the collective. But I think what's so important about all of these wizardly shamanic folks on this call is this is going to be an amazing moon for you to do your work, for you to hold that vision, for you to do whatever that ritual is. It's a water sign. You want to go to the ocean. You want to maybe bless blessed Mother Ocean or a body of water near you. There's a lot of ways you can get creative. I talk about this, and again, when I do the reports in my Patreon group, I will get information on how you can honor the new moons and the full moons, because that's the big part of what my work's about, is the new moon report, and then new and full moon reports. Dig this though, Sabian symbol. This is so great. An X-ray photo offers deep insight. How much do we love that? How much do we love that? Because Scorpio is all about deep insight. It's ruled by Pluto. It's all about maybe that information that people aren't comfortable with. But you know what? It's going to bring it whether you're comfortable or not, because that's its job. Okay. So when you see that this moon, it's not conjunct, it's widely conjunct. It's not within 10 degrees, it's in 12 degrees, which is still in that ballpark. So that means that moon is rising with South Node karmic energy. Okay. For some people, that might be fearsome. It's kind of intense. I'm not going to kid you. It is. But at the same time, look at that opportunity. It's, as I would say, it's chef's kiss. It's setting us up for an amazing opportunity for ourselves. And I really do recommend that everybody do some type of work, even if it's just like when we do our healing sessions, we offer it for the benefit of all sentient beings. Even if you just have that thought and you light a candle, it doesn't have to be complicated, but these eclipses are going to be very important to the collective, right? Because the way that they interact with collective energy are extremely important. Someone just had a question. I'm going to look really quick. How do we get to create? I don't really understand that question. Do you, Alara?
No. How do we get creative with health issues? Example, heart disease that may crop up. I don't know what that means either, Angela. How do we get creative?
Yeah, I
don't go
really
to the doctor, number
question.
One. I know that's not creative, but go to the doctor. I always say anything health related, first go to the doctor.
Yes.
And then, do also, I don't know. I mean, obviously we do healing work for, all that wonderful stuff, and that's creative.
Yes.
Blessings, etc. after the doctor.
After the doctor. Okay, I can answer that. I'm going to be starting my free healing calls again. I know Alara does her healing calls also. Mine are going to start on March 18th. They're donation based, but they're free to everybody. If people are interested in that, they need to sign up for my mailing list, because it's via phone. It's not on Zoom, and that's going to be just available to my newsletter people only. It's not public information. So if people want to get on that, that's a good way to get creative. We're going to get with some people, and we're going to bring in some nice healing energy from the healing angels, and we're going to do that.
So you could do IET healing. Irma does that. I do that as well. I do shamanic healing as well. Angelic healing as well. I mean, like,
there's so many
things.
Well, that's another thing. We're so blessed right now, right? We've talked about this. We're so blessed with the amount of incredible modalities that we have. We've never, as far as I know, like the Akashic work that I do, the energetic work that Alara does and that I do, and again, what I love about astrology is a great map for us, right? It really that's what I like to use it for, right? We're following these breadcrumbs. So I would say, through this period, through February through June, there's incredible healing potential here, right? With Pisces, there's such a beautiful aspect there because another thing to remind people about Pisces is it's connected with ascended masters, with cosmic consciousness, with our star family, our ancestors, beings that are no longer embodied, but they're in the 12th house, waiting for us to connect with them. So if that's something that you could seek a practitioner like Alara or myself, if you don't feel comfortable doing that work yourself, there's a lot of ways that we can connect with that. But yeah, that's another important thing to remember, is that we're going to have a lot of cosmic assistance through this period coming up. And like I said, I haven't looked at the fall eclipses yet, but I mean, when you've got an X-ray offering deep insight as the Sabian symbol for one, and then you've got the nurse offering deep empathy and sympathy. Another important thing to mention about that is there's a lot of grief, right? That the collective is experiencing a lot of grief. So I think that this is something that is highlighted Like this is shining a light that a lot of human beings are experiencing grief through the last 2 years. And that this is saying, oh, the cosmos recognizes this and supports this.
Yeah.
I always thought astrology was too much studies. Yeah, you know what? Thank you. I have 3 planets in Virgo, which helps. I'm no master numerologist by any means, but I have just every year studying the universal year. It's made me more aware of that. And then of course your own personal year is important. You can find that information online. Why don't I take a minute, Alara, and because we're getting down to I wanted to share an excerpt of the Keeper's message for 2022. Okay. And not everybody has seen that. That's at my page, Facebook page, Cosmic Love and Wisdom. But I wanted to share this because I think this is good. Dear ones, we invite you to fully utilize the healing vibration of your Jupiter and Pisces that is available for the first part of this year, especially. This is a time of rebalancing and reconnection. Listening to one's inner guidance will continue to be very helpful, useful, and important. We invite you to speak to yourselves and others with gentleness. Devote a portion of your time this year to self-care and to healing. It is a shift from surviving to truly thriving. We support you in this. To be a warrior of light requires an open heart and also a balance of action and rest. To positively impact the collective does not require advanced training or techniques, although they have their place. It does require a commitment to one's inner work and inner peace. The keywords to 2022 and what you are co-creating with source energy are healing, harmony, and peace. You are fully supported in your aims. If at any times you feel lost or disconnected, take time within and/or work with an experienced guide or practitioner of your choice. Tending to your needs is not frivolous, it is necessary. If you are unsure of your path or direction, inquire within. It is important to remember that you are creators, dear ones. It is not your job, so to speak, to not question reality or simply follow the crowd. When you see darkness, be the light. Where there is illusion, offer truth. Where there is illness, radiate healing. It is important to allow all emotions to exist and pass through, especially grief. This is vital for the next steps on your path, collectively and individually. 2022 is a focus on harmony, healing, and peace. 2023 will be a year of expanded consciousness and spiritual expression. Do allow yourself time for rest and reflection this year. Retire the tendency to worry. The more you can be in the flow, the more abundant you can be. This is an energy of being as opposed to pushing or aggressively making things happen. It is more yin than yang in nature, although both are present for balance. That's the message. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that was a good one. I hadn't had that long of a message for a while. So I'm trying to think of what else. Could I go ahead and go ahead?
Pat's had her hand raised for a while. Pat, you want to unmute yourself?
Okay, hi. Thank you.
Hi, Pat.
With all your wisdom. Yeah, I was into astrology for years. And I'm a Capricorn born January 16th.
Fellow Capricorn, I'm born on the 11th.
Oh, wow, wow. And I have Neptune in my 5th house, 4 degrees to 3 degrees Aries, I guess. Yes, in my 5th house. So that's where Neptune will be. Neptune and Jupiter will be.
Oh, wow. Well, do you want my commentary on that?
Sure.
Or do you know? Were you asking?
No, I don't. I'd like
okay.
to.
Fifth house is ruled by Leo. It has to do with children, creativity, right? Having fun. It has to do with play. So there's that wonderful, self-care and healthy escapism we were talking about. That's very much 5th house energy. So I love that for you.
That's wonderful.
Cool. I mean, because I know fellow Capricorns, we need to be reminded to play, right? Sometimes.
Yes, and that's what I feel I need to do more of, playing more. Yes.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's wonderful. So that's going to be in your 5th house of play, and also, Pisces can be very, very creative and very artistic, right? There's a lot of great artists that have predominant signs in Pisces. So that being in a creative, that might be a good sign. I don't know if you have a creative expression that you do. Do you do anything like that? Do you paint, write?
No,
draw,
I write sometimes. I've written. I've written things, you know, I like to write and I get messages when I write. Yeah.
I think that would be a wonderful activity for you to do during that transit because it's creative, because it's in Pisces. Thank you. That's a great question. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Let's take a moment. I want to talk about the package just because we've just been receiving so much wisdom from you, Irma. It's like, oh my God, there's just so much. And it's like, yes, I have to talk about the package as well. 1 second.
Our guys are always like,
it is like,
it's busy up in here, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you were like, just going. There's just so much coming through. It's like amazing. So the package is available at alara.at/show/Irma2. I'm just going to try and share it in a second here. 1 sec. But so start talking about it, Norma, and then I will get this up here in a second.
What I wanted to share, okay, you could read about the package there, but I'm giving it, there's a special that's for you before anybody else. This is a special Alara announcement. I have 2 online courses that I created, Healing from Your Family of Origin. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There's my package.
There's a mini oracle reading.
Yeah, let me go back to this. This is a mini oracle reading. This is the reading that I did. I got my nice rings in the picture. Nice manicure. This is my reading that I do every year for people for a very special price. It's a 2 or 3 card pull. I look at your personal year, and then there's an intuitive message. For those, I do need your birthday to do those. And so that's a special price for that, for the community.
Yeah.
And then, here we go. We've got Healing from the Family or Your Family of Origin online class that I created. It has 2 different meditations. It is normally $79, and for you, it's $59 with the 20% coupon. And we go into what we're talking about there: higher purpose of the family of origin, healing shame, illusion, shame, and guilt, support if you're walking away from your family of origin, a new perspective and reclaiming your life. People have found this to be very helpful. I've gotten very good feedback from this course. This is also based on my own experience. I had a lot of wisdom gained from my own experience. Got that t-shirt. So there's that. And then also you are going to be able to receive 10% off any non-clearance item or Andara in my store, the Bright Star Emporium there. So, and Alara has wonderful pieces from Bright Star Emporium.
I do. So I'm going to just share that in a second, but don't forget the 24-hour special. Use the code TACS10 so you can receive 10% off from me. And again, that package is available at alara.at/show/Irma10. And I'm just going to share a few little things. I mean, I have.
While you're doing that, let me just say this really quickly. As far as delivery, it really depends on the week. I ask people to please give me anywhere from 4 to 7 days for delivery of that reading, depending on the queue. I have weeks where I'm very busy. I have weeks where I'm not as busy. You know what I mean? It just kind of go with the flow of that. Thank you for sharing that, Alara. So yeah, I just asked that I will give you an estimate of when you can expect your reading when you order one. Okay, but I just want to let you know that also. Thank you. So you're going to show your Andaras?
Some stuff. So the last purchase I made, I got this and this. So Moldavite, and this beautiful Ankh. I love it. So powerful. So yeah, they're like gorgeous. So
I have Moldavite right now, you guys, and it's lower than retail in the Emporium. I only have 2 pieces. There's been a very serious shortage with supply chain issues, and there's also fakes, which of course you want to avoid that. I have very, very good sources. I've been in the crystal retail business for over 20 years, so I have really good, reliable sources, and we have a great source for Moldavite. That's who Alara's piece that she just showed you is from, and
it's amazing. So powerful. So powerful. Both of these pieces are so powerful.
I love that Ankh for you too. That Ankh is great. Yeah,
I love it. All right, so these are two of my Andaras.
Woo!
Nice.
I'm feeling that from here. You could just have a session and just hold those up for the whole thing.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
I also have these ones, which I also love.
You have one of those rare purples because you're.
I do.
You're a rare gem, so you get a rare gem. Not everybody gets those, you know.
I also like I also like these ones as well. This is like a champagne-y.
Should I tell people about Andaras a little bit if they don't know what that is? Are there any people that don't know? There was a wonderful medicine woman named Lady Nellie that lived in Northern California, and she found these, they are volcanic type pieces. They're formed in that way, but they're very different. They have something called etherium in them, which is a monatomic powder. These are next level tools. They've been associated with Atlantis. Everybody that's attracted to these is kind of supposed to have one. I'll just say that about it. They have really powerful healing ability. And the thing about Andara is it doesn't seem to matter. Of course, I'll show one of mine in a minute. I mean, of course, if you have a signature piece, a large piece that you're meant to do some significant work with it. But you know how Alara has these small pieces. It's really not about the size of that. It's just the frequency that they carry. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that? With those pieces?
Absolutely. And I think this is somebody saw the necklace I was wearing, right? So this is also an Andara pendant.
Yes. I'm going to grab my piece really quick. I'll be right there.
Sounds good. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I also got my Vogel from Irma as well.
Yeah, Bright Star Port. We have Vogels. We don't have any right now, but
I
want to show you just because she wants to say hi to everybody. This is the Atom Heart Mother. This is and I have a wild story about how I got this beautiful piece. Now, as you can see, she looks like a heart, kind of. She kind of has that heart formation.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, this piece is, and for me, being grounding and having it be brown, it's considered a shaman brown, Elder Andara. This is another piece that I got last year. I don't know if Alara's seen this piece. This is my beautiful emerald. Yeah, you did see her. Yeah. So these are very special, and I do healing sessions with these when I'm guided to on a distance level. And again, of course, these are very rare signature type pieces, but I do have a contact with the gentleman that is the guardian of actual and that are authentic Andaras. We've been very blessed in that sense because unfortunately there are fakes and inauthentic Andaras out there, and we've got the real ones. They're right from the property, and I sell them for less than retail because it's about getting these tools out to who they're supposed to go to. But I want to mention this before we go because Alara, I'm having a Pisces season sale in the Emporium, and it's on March 12th, and we have some beautiful items.
Oh man, my birthday's coming.
I know. I was thinking about you, and we're putting these in the box for the sale. We have some really great stuff. And of course, they're more in oceanic themes and blues, and there are some white pieces. But you guys will just have to check that sale out because I'm not.
Are they Andaras or something else?
I have all kinds of stuff.
I know you do. I know it's like.
Yeah. We have blue obsidian, we have lapis, we have sodalite, we have Andara, we have a lot of really, really interesting stuff. And whenever I find something special for these sales, I always separate it and go, oh, that's going to be in the Pisces sale. And then when, of course, we have dolphin, we have oceanic things there. If you go in the Emporium, you could see I have this amazing stand that's going to be in the sale that's dolphins. It's really beautiful. So this is the kind of thing we have for all the mermen and mermaids out there. And everyone else too. Don't miss that sale because we've got some beautiful stuff.
I remember a little while ago you had like a crystal cup and saucer, or I was like, oh, I really want one of those, but I missed out on it. It's like
I have one left. Write me up. Talk to me after the broadcast, Laura. I have one left.
Can you imagine me drinking my tea in that? Oh my God.
I have one left. We can talk. I do.
All right, we'll talk.
It's the heart sale is coming up on the 12th. So every month we have fun sales in the Emporium. We always have something cool going on. Another thing that I do free readings in the Emporium. I do one for I do card pulls and little mini readings. And I did one for New Year. And then what was that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I did one for New Year's. Well, this is the interesting thing. I have to back up. I used to hire readers to read in there because I love to support my sisters. And I had a reader that was going to read and something came up and I was, Spirit's like, well, you do it. It's kind of like, duh. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I've been reading the cards for 20 years. So I do oracle readings. I did one for New Year's. It was really fun. And I'm doing another one for Llamas in the summer. And so we do fun, free things in there. And yes, we do sell items in there, but we also do fun things too. So come on over.
So
We'd
be
love to
sure to
have you.
join the Bright Star Emporium. And when you order something, make sure you mention my name so that you can get the 10% discount gift. I call it
Yes.
a gift instead of discount. But
10%. Mention her name. So we know, and we'll want to give you guys a special welcome over there in the group.
and of course, Irma ships everywhere because she ships to me. I'm in Europe, right? So yes, she can ship, but not when it's Mercury retrograde.
Retrograde. I don't ship internationally Mercury retrograde because I'm smart. Because I've learned.
Issue. But I mean, you always send it to me when it wasn't Mercury retrograde, but I never
No
had
issues.
any
Yeah,
issue.
no, I mean, we've had some, speaking of that, we've had a little bit of slowdown to be expected. There are, to the UK and Australia, there's been some, it's been a little slower there. So, and prices, again, we don't make a profit on shipping, but our shipping cost has gone up. So just to let people know that prices, when you buy an item, the shipping is reflected it's in the price, so we make it. So just so you know, I know everybody knows you're shipping things yourselves. It's gone up a little bit. So that's wanted to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, whenever I get something, it's like, oh, and then I'm always surprised when I get it. It's like, oh yeah, I ordered that. But it's like, it's always a big, a big surprise. And it's like, oh wow. And then I show it to my husband, and my husband loved this. He loved it. Made an altar for it, specifically, and the Moldavite, and he couldn't hold them. He could not hold them. They were just too powerful for him.
Wow. Well, I have more of the onks. I have some different onks. I've got some really cool ones with the snake on it that almost looks like a caduceus. I haven't posted those yet. So yeah, you know me, I'm always finding fun stuff over there. So yeah, crystal people, it's fun.
And they're all good quality. So obviously I've been buying from Irma for a few years now. It feels like
a while. Thank you.
Yeah, and they're all good quality. And I've always been happy with all my purchases. And when I want something, like when I said, hey, you know what, I'm looking for a Vogel. Do you and she went and looked for one and got it, so if you have, special requests, just.
Yes, I do we do special orders. That's a good point. Thank you. Another thing to mention is when you get it from me, that you haven't had 50 people picking it up. This is what people tell me the benefit is. When you buy something in a store, a lot of times you have to clear the energy. It's been out with the public. A lot of times when you buy something from me, it literally is like my distributor and me, there haven't been like 50 people's hands on it. And, people are very energy sensitive in this community. So, I mean, that's something that I do also as a service. Everything is cleared and blessed. I also, depending on what's happening with the moons, we activate pretty much all items are going to be cleansed before you get them. We do special activations for crystal skulls and other items. We do that depending on what's happening in the year. So that's going on too. So that's added bonus. That's no extra charge for that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. So I don't think I've ever purchased a skull from you. I purchased skulls from somebody else, but I don't think I ever purchased a skull from you, right?
I don't think you have either.
I mean, I have a few, but I don't think I purchased them from you.
You're frozen on my end. I wonder what's going on.
It's okay. It's all good.
Okay.
So
Okay. We're getting at the end, huh?
Yeah. So Linda was saying, I have a Moldavite necklace on right now, very powerful. I had a Vogel and my grandchild broke one of the points. Does that lessen the energy? When anything breaks, are you still there, Irma? Oh, is she frozen or am I frozen? Anybody here? Just let me know if anybody's here.
You're there. You're
Okay.
there. But Irma's not.
Okay, so when it comes to crystals, when they break, it's always a good idea to put them in the ground, give them back to Mother Earth. Okay?
The whole crystal?
Yeah, if you have any crystal and it breaks, that's what I've been told, is that you just, give it back to Mother Earth.
Oh, this was an expensive crystal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not the cost. It's you do with that what you will, but I'm just saying, this is what I've been always taught by my, when I learned about crystals and using crystals, etc. So that's what I've always done. Okay, put them in the earth. You could put them in your plant. It's the same thing. Like you have a plant in the house, you can put it in your plant. It doesn't have to be outside, but just not use it as much, kind of thing.
I like the thought with the plant. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would do that. Mhm. All
Thank
right, let
you.
me just, you're welcome. Thank you. Let me just see if Irma's back.
I'm back.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, I'm
Yeah,
back.
Good. I was just saying to Linda that this is what I was taught, that when a crystal breaks of some sort, you give it back to Mother Earth. Whether it's like in the ground or in a pot, it's fine, but you don't use it anymore.
Yes.
What is your input on that?
Well, you know what? That's a very interesting thing. I've heard that. Some people have told me they have a term for that in the crystal community. They call broken crystals, they call them the empathic warriors, is what they call them. And I think that generally people I'd say would do that, maybe put it back to the earth or maybe put it in with your plant. Some people, I've had people go, oh, when my crystal broke, I was strongly guided to give it to this person or give it to my daughter or whatever it was. So I would say use your guidance on that. Generally, I would agree with you. And there tends to be a reason when they break sometimes, there's usually something going on with that. But, I think that's true too. And as we know, like in my store, if something has a chip out of it, or whatever, maybe the price will be will reflect that. But of course it doesn't affect on the quality, and the beauty of the piece. But if something cleaves and breaks in half, that's different. That's different than having a ding out of it or something.
Or if your dog chews on it and it breaks in half.
Naughty Neo.
He did that once with my selenite. With my selenite egg, he did that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. But that was the only thing he destroyed. Nothing else. That was the only thing ever. So I can't complain.
We love him. He's so cute.
Exactly. Yeah, Angela, I would, when something breaks, it's like your work with it is done, or its work with you is done, kind of thing.
Unless you're guided to give it to another person, I think I have crystals in my yard and garden, and you can do wonderful. That's a good feng shui piece if you want to, put them in for protection. I have them in my house. I have them in corners. You have an area, of course it still has value. It's just going to be used in a different way. So yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. Yeah. But we're
do what you will.
Are we good for today? I think this was fun.
I think so. This was great. Yeah. I mean, I love talking about crystals. I love talking about what's going on in the world astrologically wise, and just all the key points that you mentioned, today about nurturing ourselves, taking care of ourselves. I love the thing about the deeper insights, right? And having compassion, right? Having compassion for ourselves as those deeper insights are coming up, right? So, and I have to say today, when I forgot to send out the 1 hour before email, and I sent it out at the time, like 9 o'clock, like 5 now, I didn't judge myself. Woohoo!
I'm amazed. You amaze me. Like I'm like in awe of the fact that you have a show and you have all these people on. I mean, I'm always like, just wow. I'm super honored to be here. I'm going to be back on in April, right? So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on your schedule for April, and I think we're doing some Q&A, more Q&A. We talked about that. So if people are interested in, maybe getting more into my work or whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm going to be back in April.
Awesome. Yay. So in the meantime, check out the special offer from Irma, which is available at alara.at/show/Irma2, and also check out her Bright Star Emporium Facebook page. And what is the YouTube channel called?
It's called Cosmic Weather. Another thing people can do is I have a link tree that has all of my links, and it's on my Facebook page. It's on my Instagram page. I'm at Starseer11 at Instagram. So if I did one of those things, it's got everything there. It's got my Patreon. It's got my, the Cosmic Weather channel. It's got all of that. So another thing I wanted to put out there is, as viewers, Alara's viewers, if you want to get a more in-depth reading with me, a chart reading or an intuitive counseling or a healing session via Zoom or phone, you're always going to get the friends and family rate, which is $20 off my public rate. Okay, so I want to put that out there too. You're always going to get friends and family because you're family. So there's that.
So Irma's website is irmakaye.com.
It's just irmakaye.com.
Yeah,
And that will
irmakay.com.
tell you about my different readings, different services that I offer. You know, and again, people that are, I really recommend if you're interested in astrology, you know, I mean, my goodness, $3 a month. I mean, that's really very little. And the thing is, the main level to get all of the information is only $22 a month. That's considered the basic tier. But I started that tier for people that maybe were a little challenged right now, and there'd be some people that were unemployed when I started that. So really, I highly recommend people get in a space where I can be a little more free over there about talking about certain topics, about current events, things like that. That was why, one of the reasons I started that. And I always have a new moon and the full moon report that's in there every month. And those are very in-depth reports, and people love those. I've been writing those for 14 years now. So that's kind of the big thing. And then of course I'm going to be doing these teaching events and talking about other aspects that I think are the most important to talk about. So that's going on over there. So,
and also your free healing calls are going to start as well. So be sure to sign up at Irma's website.
yes,
So
thank you.
irmakay.com, sign up there so that you'll be on her newsletter and email list, and you'll get information about that as well. Because we could all use a little bit more healing, especially right now. This is the year
Absolutely.
where
Thanks
you
for-
really want to work on yourself.
Thank
right?
you for that. And I want to just mention that, of course, your information is secure. We don't sell it or do anything with it. We only send out a couple things. And so, yeah, I just want to put that out there. But
yeah, she doesn't send out as many emails as I do.
I like your emails though. You need to do a lot of emails because you have guests and you need to let everybody know, right? So
Exactly.
I'm only going to tell you kind of what we're doing for the month and what's happening and all that. But I like your emails, Laura.
I used to feel bad. I used to judge myself for all the emails I send out, but it's like, you know what? No, this is the part of the business, and this is how you will know what's happening. And otherwise, how will you know? So,
well, for what you do, I mean, and the thing is, people, I like reminders. I mean, we all have a lot going on, right? I like to know, have a reminder if somebody's interesting on your show and I want to see them. So I appreciate that. I do.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I
don't judge myself as much. I'm so much better now at that. It's like not judging myself. It's like, yeah, I'm just being of service. I'm just being of service. I'm just being of service.
You are in service, my friend.
I am, definitely. But yeah, so thank you for sharing our space today with us, Irma. Oh, Amanda asked me, is it Irma or is it Irma Kaye? It's like, should I call her Dear Irma or Dear Irma Kaye? Like,
you can call me either one. Yeah, I answer to either one. Thank you for asking that though. That's a very sweet question. But yeah, you can say Irma, that's fine, or Irma Kaye, or IK. People call me IK a lot. Kind of just, less characters.
yeah. But that's like, I just say Irma. So that's all,
You can call me, whatever you wish. Yeah, story on that really quick. I dropped my last name professionally because my brilliant colleague, Shannon Lemaire, knows this. She knows, she's a complete wizard. Anyway, she knows something called Tibetan numerology, which is like mind-blowing stuff. Mm-hmm. And we discovered that my last name was not helping me karmically. That's all I'm going to say about that. And
okay.
When I quit using that professionally for the most part, because it's still, of course it's hard to take it off everything. But once I changed it, like on my website and certain key things, it really shifted the energy for me. And it really changed things up, and it really helped me get more in my authenticity. It was a great thing. So, they're asking about the website. Yeah, the website is just my name, IRMAKAYE.com. That's the website. Thank you very much. And just together, no spaces, irmakay.com. Thank you, Alara. Love you.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for your questions. I know there was so much on this call, so please watch or listen again, because there's so much information, so much good wisdom that we're going to want to, check back in with for the next 6 months. Okay, so definitely go back and
another thing really quick. If you have a question related to this information, remember I'm going to be back on in April, and you can ask me. We can have some Q&A then too. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Irma. Again, so much fun. I enjoy it so, oh my God, I just love it. It's like, I learned so much. It's beautiful. So thank you, everyone.
Love
and
you,
until next time, thank you.
Bye.
May you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Bye, everyone. Have a great day, afternoon, evening. Bye.
Bye.
Neo's quiet now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.